Welcome. Today on Book Talk with Bookish Erika, I have the pleasure of interviewing for the second time author Alice G. Brooks. Alice, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Hello, it's so nice to be back. I'm good. I'm a little bit tired because it's late. I'm doing good. I'm excited.
Good. Thank you for meeting with me. I know the time zone can be a little tricky for us, but I'm glad you were available. First off, congratulations on releasing your second book. I am so
Thank you.
excited for you. Can you tell me a little bit about When Death Gives You Lemons?
It is a extremely queer and kind of dark comedy that follows a dead murderer and a grim reaper on the search for forgiveness for the human realm. It's really about guilt, grief, redemption, and a soft, cute romance on top of it. And it's a very nice format as well, if I may just say. It can fit into your purse. It's very pretty and very small. So, you know, so if you're into stories with darker topics mixed with some dash of humor, it's definitely for you.
I love that. And first off, the cover is beautiful. Did you do the
Thank
cover
you.
yourself?
I made it myself. Yes, I made a mock-up in Canva and then I went over to Procreate and drew it myself.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Your covers are always stunning, and I love that you make them yourself.
They're all
Um,
self-made.
you're very talented.
Thank you.
Um, so a lot of heavier topics, but I like that there is some lighter humor, a little bit of romance sprinkled in, so it's not
Yeah.
overall too heavy of a book.
It matches their personalities. Just it's kind of like a grumpy ex sunshine situation. It's one of my favorite tropes. And you have this kind of um reclusive and sarcastic dead guy who happened to have murdered three people in his life, who dies and gets a second chance to find forgiveness for what he's done. But he's joined by my little sunshine son, Grim. I love him so much. He's such a cutie pie because he just wants to learn about humans and what makes humans what they are. So it's kind of just like a clashing two clashing worlds of this darker side of Isaac and the sunnier and fun side of Grim, and it mixes really well.
I am really excited, and I like that the Grim Reaper Grim is the sunshine
Yes.
because when you first hear okay, it's a Grim Reaper and a human, I assumed that the Grim Reaper would be the grumpy one, but I like that it's kind of flipped and it's not what I'm expecting. So I'm really excited for that.
They're definitely gonna keep you on your toes. They're doing a lot of stuff you won't expect.
I am really excited. And just so anyone who's listening or watching knows, by the time this episode airs, the book will be available. So, it comes out in a couple days from when we're speaking, but if this sounds good to you, then check it out right after you're done with the episode because you can start reading immediately.
Absolutely.
So what themes do you find yourself repeatedly exploring in your writing?
It's a lot of mental health stuff, a lot of psychology, queer stories primarily. And guilt is a big thing. When I thought about this question, it was like guilt is kind of present in all of my books, not just the two that I've published, but also the one I'm working on right now and a few others. But they're all inflicted in different ways. The trauma and the guilt, for example, in Don't Trust the Raven, which is my debut, the trauma on the main character, Ellie, is very much external. She has been shaped by her childhood and by growing up and her family. And in When Death Gives You Lemons, Isaac's trauma is almost entirely self-inflicted. And they have very different ways of dealing with that trauma and handling it. And I find it very interesting to explore the complexities and consequences of trauma and guilt.
I like that. And I think that those are also themes that a lot of readers can relate to. Unfortunately, a lot of people do experience trauma in different forms, and everybody experiences guilt. And so I think that those are themes that I like to read about when I'm in a good mental health space,
Yes.
just because it can help me deal with those emotions as well.
It can be a bit much sometimes, the darker topics, but I always make sure to include some content warnings in my book so you know what's ahead of you.
I really appreciate that. I think content warnings are very important. And I also like that you included it in Don't Trust the Raven. You had a note at the beginning of the book, but then the list was at the end. And you had
Yes.
something to the effect of like, oh, if you if you want to read the list, you can flip to the end of the book, but if you don't want to see them for spoilers or anything, then you just continue reading. And so I really liked that you placed it at the end just because I prefer that. And I did flip back to see what I was expecting.
And when Dev gives you lemons, the content warnings is actually at the beginning, just as a heads up.
Okay.
It just for practical reasons. I can't speak. Practical reasons is at the beginning this time. But I'm just trying around to see what works best for my content warnings. So I'm still experimenting.
Yeah, I like that. And I do think most people probably prefer it at the beginning, but I don't know. Different readers like different things. So I like that you are kind of figuring it out as you go because it'll appear to different readers in different ways.
Yes, exactly.
So when you are reading, what sorts of books do you gravitate towards?
I am really into horror currently. I like thrillers, I like crime. Encourage that there's a kind of genre on the rise within the horror genre that focuses on cannibalism, which seems to be kind of trending right now, it's a very specific and very, very dark topic, but I'm kind of really into reading books about that because it comes with so much psychological topics that I just really love to delve into. I like books that make me uncomfortable, that make me question reality, and that make me wonder what the hell is going on at all times, but like in a good way, you know. And I also mostly read queer stories. I do also like books without any romance in it because I would honestly rather read a book with no romance than a book without a queer romance because I'm just so focused on queer stories because of my own queerness that I just prefer to keep my bookshelves very colorful and mix all that together like queer horror, queer thriller. That's my kind of vibe.
I really like that. And the cannibalism thing is really interesting.
Yes.
I have only read one horror book in my entire life, and it was
Really?
actually Tender is the Flesh, which
I have that on
is,
my list. It's on my bookshelf right now. I bought it the other day.
oh, it is amazing. I
I haven't
read
read it
it
yet.
probably 2 years ago, and I think about that book multiple times a week.
I just
Like,
bought that 2 weeks ago and I've been meaning to read it.
once you do, then like let me know like what your thoughts
I
because I really
will.
want to talk about it. It's really interesting. Um, and I like that a lot of your books focus on queer stories, like you were saying, because I think it's really important that more and more books in different genres do represent the queer voices. And so I like that, you can identify with that, but you're also focusing your reading on that. And that's something that I'm working on this year is I'm trying to read more queer stories. So I will definitely be coming to you for some recommendations.
Absolutely. It's really important because not just it makes me feel seen, but it's also important to display and represent other kind of sexualities and identities that you may not be familiar with and that you have never really thought about. But we're all out there and we all just have to represent it.
Exactly. Very well said. So out of all of the characters in your books, which character do you identify with the most?
I identify most with Nell, which is a side character in Don't Trust the Raven. She doesn't really appear all that much in the book itself, but I have written a draft for her own story, and I am trying to get through that to eventually one day publish it. I can't make any promises, but I'm hoping. And in that draft, I just got to explore her so much more than she appears in Don't Trust the Raven, and she's just really sort of based on me, on my own experience with queerness, with her neurodivergence, with her experience of dealing with pain and struggle. It's not all me, but it's a very big part of me. And she is just, I think she's the youngest one of my characters. So I keep her really close to my heart. She's really precious to me.
I really like that. And I would love to hear more about Nell because, like you said, she doesn't feature a lot in Don't Trust the Raven, but she's one that I want to learn more about. And
She
so
deserves her own
hopefully
story.
she does deserve her own story. So hopefully one day, I know you have a lot of projects and, a lot going on, but hopefully one day we do get her story because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I treat her story kind of as a side project to me right now because I'm focusing on different genre, but I have it going on at the side that I chip away at every now and then when I find the time, and I want to get it right because it's a really complex story and sensitive topics as well. So I want to do it justice, and it's probably going to take a long time, but maybe one day.
One day. And that's one thing that I think authors kind of struggle with is you have so many good ideas and
So
projects that
many.
you get excited about, but you have to like really narrow it down and decide which stories, you take to the end to publishing. So I can imagine you probably have a million more stories in your head that we haven't heard anything about, but you would love to write
Yes.
one day.
I have a notebook with about 50 to 100 ideas and prompts just jotted down. Not all of them are going to be written. It's just a few of them that are actually going to ever exist. But I have so many ideas. My head is very full. I'm a very creative person, and I think of the most random things at the most random times. So it's kind of like a city up there.
The city. I like that. So how do you balance advertising your first book, Don't Trust the Raven, with promoting the new release When Death Gives You Lemons?
It's a tough balance. I'm kind of winging it right now, which is maybe not the most professional answer, but to be honest, I am still a baby author. I'm still starting out. I'm exploring and I'm figuring out what works. Right now, I'm just very focused on promoting When Death Gives You Lemons, considering it's coming out in 6 days.
Yay!
And Don't Trust the Raven is kind of a thing that I remind people of every now and then that it exists. Because obviously that story is also very close to my heart, and I want people to know that it exists and I want to share it. But my focus is like 80% on When Death Gives You Lemons right now, and I feel like that's going to shift again after my release because then I'm going over to focusing on my next book after that, which is called The Ink Eater, by the way. Um, and I'm just kind of trying to figure it all out, but I think that's kind of one of the beauties of indie publishing that I get to learn as I'm doing, and I'm figuring everything out as I just go along. It's a ride.
It's a ride. And that's just a question that I see a lot of authors ask online is, how do I balance it? Because you have a new book coming out, but I think that you're doing a really good job because,
Thank you.
the release is coming out next week. And so it makes sense that that is most of your focus. And I've noticed on Instagram that, kind of the 80-20%. But I like that you are still advertising Don't Trust the Raven because it's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to hear more about the Ink Eater here in a little
So
while.
soon. So soon. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about it.
Yay! Oh, I'm excited. I love when you can see and feel the excitement from authors about their upcoming stories. So I'm really excited.
Not to dive too much into Ink Eater because this is not for that and it's not out yet, but it is um really the genre I truly want to write. It's a story that really comes from my heart and it's very weird, but in a fun way and in a tragic way as well. That's all I can say right now. But I'm excited to share more artwork and more clips from that book.
Yay! I'm really excited. I love seeing all of the character artwork and stuff that you share. And all of it is absolutely beautiful. So why
My
is
artists
it
do a great job.
important? They all do an amazing job. Why is it important for you to commission artwork from human artists?
Well, two reasons. For once, obviously, I am very, very loud and vocal about my stance against generative AI. I work in IT, so I have studied this kind of stuff for my exams and for my degree. Um, and IT, sorry, GenAI is based on data and information that was taken from people who have provided the data with or without consent, and mostly for artists there is no consent from the artist to have their data and their work stolen for data training. So it's straight up theft. It's harmful to the environment, and I refuse to use generative AI, which is one of the reasons why I go with human artists. The other reason is just it's fun. I like talking to human artists. I like giving them my reference sheets, my vision boards and everything, and they get to figure it out with me and we get to work together. And for example, for When Death Gives You Lemons, I worked with my illustrator, Amanda, for 11 illustrations for the book, and I haven't posted all of them. There are some that are exclusive to the print. You will not see them unless you get the print. Uh,
Ooh,
and it
okay.
was it was
Good to
just so
know.
fun to work with her, because we just got to figure out what the characters were doing all the time, and I gave her my instructions and my visions, and we kind of brainstormed about it together. And just working together on such a big project, 11 illustrations, that's a lot. It was very, very fun to connect with her and to connect with all of my artists, really. It's just nothing quite like receiving an update on a commission that makes my day. It's just such a fun way to spice up my day.
I absolutely love both answers that you gave to that. And first, I want to say I do really appreciate that you make it very clear your stance on Gen AI. You have it
Thank
in
you.
your bio. You are anti-Gen AI. I am the same way. I do not support it. And I like when people do speak out about it because there are a lot of people who are uninformed, unfortunately.
Mm,
Um, and so I really like that you highlighted it is stealing and harmful to other authors and creatives and anybody who's posting and creating stuff, but also to the environment. So I
yes.
appreciate that.
That's a point we don't see brought up nearly often enough, in my opinion. I work with this kind of stuff a lot. Um, Not with generative AI itself, but I work with people who use it regularly. I am in school with people who use it regularly. And we do discussions about this sort of thing, but nobody ever really brings up the environmental impact. And I think that's a very important part that we can't really leave out. There's a bunch of studies about it if anyone's interested. I find it a very important topic nowadays, especially in the creative community.
Definitely, definitely. So yes, thank you for highlighting that. And if anybody listening wants any references or wants to learn more about it, feel free to comment or message either of us. I would be
Yes,
okay with that.
me too.
Um, Perfect. Because that's something that I am really passionate about as well. And then I love that you are just supportive of other creative people. You do have beautiful artwork, and so I really appreciate that you get excited. And I can't wait. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
have to order the paperback again because I want to see the other artwork that's exclusive to the paperback.
Yes, there's one in there in particular that I haven't posted and I haven't even really shared the scene with anyone. That's a late edition, so really nobody knows it except for my editor and like two friends. Um, with an artwork that is kind of a defining romantic point between Grim and Isaac. And it's a very, very cute scene, and I love it very much. And I'm excited for people's reactions to it. It's not explicit or anything. It's still, there's no spice in this book. But it's just, it's very sensual in a way. That's
I
very good.
like that. I'm really excited. I can't wait to see it. So I will definitely be getting the paperback.
Thank you.
Yeah. I noticed in your 2025 author wrapped that you mentioned you plan to focus less on pleasing the algorithm and more on enjoying the content that you create. What changes have you made to implement and help with this issue?
First and foremost, I have hired a PA who is helping me now with social media content and strategy, TikToks and Reels. And it's been a huge relief because I am such a fan of making graphics and I love making designs and making my static posts. But Reels and TikToks are the death of me. I'm not made for that. And I've said this to my PA that I like to create, but I don't like to create to market. It's just kind of a balance that you have to find. And as an indie author, you kind of need to cover all of the markets, and TikTok and Reels are some of that. And with her help and her strategy and just talking to her in general, it's been very, very helpful to get me back into the spirit of writing because before I was just always thinking about what should I create, what's trending right now, what will people pick up on, how many views do I have? And I'm still looking at my views, but now I feel more connected to the writing itself again. And that's very important because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to actually enjoy what I'm doing. And I really want to love what I'm doing, and I am.
Good. I am really happy that you've already noticed a big difference and that your PA has been really helpful.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it's
I
very
know.
new. We just started on this, but I think it's gonna be a huge relief, and it's already helping so much after like three videos.
Oh, good. I'm glad that it's almost an immediate relief. And so, oh, that makes me really happy because I know the algorithm, even for me, I'm not even, promoting, a book I've written or anything. It can just weigh on you a lot. And I imagine when, you're trying to create a livelihood and, you're putting out something that you have created and written, I imagine that the weight of trying to please the algorithm and figure out, oh, what changed this week? How do I, reach new readers? It probably takes up a lot of mental space. And so I'm
So
really
much.
happy that you found something to help with that.
Yeah, because even when you're not creating, you're still kind of just doom scrolling and looking for stuff that works, and you're always in that mindset of what works and what doesn't, and so you can't really ever relax. It's just kind of a mental strain, and I'm placing that away from me now, and I'm so grateful for it and that I can afford it.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you made that decision and that it's working. So good job.
Thank you.
So why is it important for readers to leave reviews, especially for indie books?
Well, for one, reviews, no matter what kind of review, tells the algorithm, as we've mentioned, and several platforms, that this book is something that people want, even if it's not only good reviews, which helps us just reach new people and new readers. And word of mouth itself is the most important marketing tool at all. Like, I don't think there's anything that's more effective than word of mouth. If you tell your friends that you've enjoyed a book, they might pick it up too, and that really helps a lot to indie offers. It makes a huge difference just seeing one number change on our dashboard and one more review on the list. It's a huge motivation boost, and it helps to us to see what stuff people want and what they like and what really resonates with people. And so it's the motivation, but it's also helping us find more people and more people who will like our work.
Very well said. That was very well said. And one thing that I've been trying to stress when I recommend that people write reviews is, a review doesn't have to be like a thesis. It doesn't need to
Yeah.
be paragraphs and paragraphs long. Even something as short as, "Hey, I loved this book, you should check it out." And you post
Yeah,
that on Amazon or Goodreads or Storygraph. It really helps. And so, I like to write reviews that are a little bit more in depth, but even just something simple, a couple sentences really does make a big difference. So I've been trying to recommend to people, even if it's, two or three sentences, just post it
absolutely.
because it really makes a difference. And I don't think people realize it can be that simple, but it makes a huge difference for the authors.
Honestly, one of my favorite reviews on Don't Trust the Raven is from my sister, and it's just a one-liner. And she just wrote that she's very upset and she has no notes, so she would recommend. That's all. It's one sentence, and it's one of my favorites because the "I'm very upset" part is just perfectly capturing what I was trying to do with this book and how it resonated. And I feel like just the 5 stars and one line that helps a lot. I love the long reviews as well, but the short ones, the snazzy ones, those are also just fantastic. They're great motivation boosts.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. And even as a reader, I don't always want to read a multi-paragraph review.
Yeah,
If someone like, and I saw the review that your sister wrote on Don't Trust the Raven, and I was like, that's a beautiful review. And to be honest, something like that would make me want to pick up a book because it's
me
short,
too.
it's sweet, and I can tell how much they enjoyed the story simply because they said it was great. They said it was perfect, no notes. And so I
Yeah.
really like that. So, is there a goal that we as readers can help you achieve?
I just want to keep writing. Honestly, that's all I want to do. I want to eventually get to the point where I can live from this, where I can just make a comfortable living. I don't have to be rich or popular or famous or anything. I want to be able to make this art form my life. And I mean, it's already kind of consuming my life. I love it so much. Um, but yeah, just by reading my books, by recommending my books, reviewing, talking to people, talking to me about it is helpful as well because then I can see what you like and what you didn't like and what works and what doesn't. It's very important just to communicate with people in the reader community, with the authors themselves, if they're available or reachable at all. Um, that's really helpful just as a motivation, as an inspiration for me as well, because I see people who read my books and I see my DMs and people who tell me that they really loved it and they send me the reviews and they talk to me about my artwork and everything. And it just tells me that you want to see more, and that's good because I'm not done.
Yay, I love to hear you say that you're not done. And you
So
mentioned
far from it.
previously, good. You mentioned previously how many like ideas you have and your next book. And so I'm really excited to continue on your author journey. I'm going to read every book that you publish.
Thank you.
And I'm going to continue recommending your books to everyone.
It means a
So
lot to
if
me.
someone wants to start reading one of your two books that you will have published, what formats are they available in and where can they start reading?
Well, both Don't Trust the Raven and My Death Gives You Lemons are available as paperbacks and on KU as well as an ebook. And Don't Trust the Raven also has a hardcover, which I put here and preparing,
Yeah, show us.
with a
I
beautiful
love it.
cover. It's so
It's so
pretty. Look at
pretty.
her. I made it myself. This is actually hand drawn by me. So and it also has two artworks inside. And then we just have the paperbacks as well. Very different sizing. Whichever you prefer. And of course, like I said, everything is on Kindle Unlimited.
Perfect. I love that you have multiple formats available. Anybody, that way people can, choose whichever format they like. And I'm just really excited for readers to check out both Don't Trust the Raven and When Death Gives You Lemons. And I
Me too.
guarantee you, the readers, you will not regret it. Alice's stories are fantastic. So,
I am so excited for when Death Gives You Lemons to hit the shelves. I think it's going to be
yes,
great.
it will be amazing. I'm personally really excited for it.
Thank you so much.
Um, yeah, and Alice, thank you so much for joining me. I always love chatting with you. Once again, readers, check out Alice G. Brooks. Her books are amazing.
Thank you.